Hallo und herzlich willkommen zurück zu Lamplight City. Wir waren letztes Mal fertig, durch und zu Ende mit Fall 1.
There's no time to waste, Miles. You need to go meet Upton.
Okay. Wir haben einen Nachtkurier bekommen, der sagte, dass Upton uns im Kaffeehaus treffen möchte. Wo die altbekannten Gesichter sitzen. Es hat sich nicht geändert. Nur, dass es Nacht draußen ist.
Hello, Upton.
I'm glad you came, Fordham. Sorry for disturbing you this late.
Shouldn't a respectable young lady like you be in bed by now?
Only if you want to add boring to your list of adjectives.
So, what do you got for me?
An infant kidnapping in Lyon. The report came in tonight just before my shift ended. The family wants to keep the investigation very low-key. They're afraid if word gets out, they'll have all sorts of ne'er-do-wells making false ransom claims. That's why I suggested they let you investigate first. Head over to 45 Belcourt Street. That's the home of Malcolm and Miriam Harris, the parents of the kidnapped boy.
Mann, oh Mann, ich darf mit reichen Leuten reden.
Harris? As in Harris Construction Company?
The very same. Owned by Malcolm's father, no less. Now you see why they wanted to keep this out of the public eye.
Indeed. If they manage to get a new transatlantic airship off the ground, it'll be an aura mine. I can see why they'd make an easy target. Don't worry, Upton. I'll get the kid back before you can say hot toddy.
Hot toddy. I think
Damn.
you're losing your touch, Fordham.
And I think you've lost your joke book. Try some new material for a change, would you?
Right. Good luck on your investigation. Come see me again once you figured things out. Or if you just need to talk. I'll be here all day tomorrow as well. So feel free to stop by.
Can we talk?
Not right now, Fordham. Time is of the essence. Come back and see me when you've made some progress on this thing. Your head start.
Zum einen sagt sie mir, ich kann auch einfach mit ihr reden. Was sie mir dann doch nicht erlaubt. Aber gut. Wollen wir mal zu Harris Herrenhaus.
Mr. Miles Fordham is here to see you, sir.
Very good, Mr. Havelock. Send him up.
Yes, sir.
Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Fordham. I'm Malcolm Harris.
I'm terribly sorry to hear about what's happened, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Fordham. You were very highly recommended by Miss Upton. She said you'd be able to solve this faster and more discreetly than the police. I admit it's a rather unorthodox approach, but we're desperate.
I understand. I'll do all I can to find the kidnapper and bring your son back unharmed.
If you'd like to examine the nursery, it's just through that door to the left. I'll ask you to please try and keep quiet as I just sent my wife to bed. Her nerves are rather shot, you see.
Yes, of course. I have some questions for you, Mr. Harris.
No doubt you do, but I'm really not in the mood to talk right now. It's been a difficult evening, and I'm not certain I have it in me to answer your questions at the moment.
Fair enough, but I will need to ask you about the incident at some point.
Yes, that's fine. Just not now.
Okay. Okay, wir haben ein kaputtes Fenster.
The Bears Picnic. Something about a group of giant human-like bears eating together in the woods is slightly unsettling. My friend Bunny. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want a giant imaginary rabbit for a friend.
Nicht?
Look at that. The kid has a toy chest. My sister and I used to have to keep our toys buried in the backyard. Of course, that is because the only toys we had were dead rats.
Okay, gucken wir uns das Fenster an. Wir haben zerrissenen Stoff.
Interesting. This fabric looks as though it came from a garment of some kind.
Huh. There's a small emblem sewn onto the side of this piece of fabric. It just says SS.
Somebody's initials, maybe? Probably won't be another year or so before the child gets any practical use out of those blocks beyond putting them in his mouth. Be careful not to cut yourself, Miles. I don't think the Harris family has ever seen blood that isn't blue. Look, you can see the balcony extends all the way around the side of the manor.
That would make it rather easy for someone to access this window from the outside.
No evidence of what was used to smash the glass, though.
Das ist so.
It looks rather flimsy. Let's not try sitting on it.
Mehr haben wir hier, glaube ich, nicht, oder? Vorhänge kann ich mir nicht extra angucken.
Be careful not...
Nee, okay.
Oh dear.
How wonderful. The soporific has started working. Well done, Fordham. Now how are you supposed to... What's the word I'm looking for? Instigate? Interrogate? I just had it on the tip of my tongue.
Perhaps it's time to call it a night.
Quiet. That's interesting. But sleep is more interesting. Shh, it's time to sleep.
Well, Mr. Harris, I believe I've done all I can for right now.
Did you find anything?
Yes, I believe I have some leads I can pursue. But the most important thing to do in cases like this is wait to hear from the kidnappers. I'll be back tomorrow morning to continue my investigation and ask you and your wife some questions once you've had time to calm down a bit. In the meantime, I suggest you stay here and get some sleep. We'll all need it.
Miles, wake up. It's nearly noon.
Ah, so it is.
Ich komme morgen früh.
Why didn't you come to bed when you got home last night?
It was late. I didn't want to disturb you.
So what was so urgent about the case Upton sent you?
I'm trying to track a kidnapped child.
Oh my goodness. That's awful.
Yes, the pressure's on, but I think I should be able to crack it.
Assuming you actually managed to get anything done at the Harris Manor today.
Well, let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Also, we've got company. Mrs. Delacroix is having her hair done here today, so please make yourself presentable.
You mean I'm not all ready?
At least do something about your hair. I do have a reputation to maintain after all.
What's wrong with my hair?
Do you really want me to answer that? We'll be here all day.
Okay, gut.
And then he said, "Oh, hello there. I don't believe we've met."
Mrs. Delacroix, this is my husband, Miles. Miles, this is Mrs. Delacroix.
Pleasure to meet you, madam.
Likewise, young man. Pleasure.
Is everything all right, Mrs. Delacroix?
Oh, yes, everything's fine. It's just that, well, you weren't what I was expecting, is all.
Keep your head, Miles. She may be a close-minded idiot, but she's just an old lady.
Oh Gott, was sage ich nur?
You mean the portrait over the fireplace didn't clue you in?
Now then, Mrs. Delacroix, what was it that you were telling me about Mr. Delacroix and his dogs?
Oh, yes. So, Harold came in and said...
Impressive. She got off pretty easy. I was expecting a repeat of the Parsons incident. You should give Adelaide a kiss on the way out, though, just to make the old bat feel extra uncomfortable.
Gute Idee.
Addie?
Not right now, Miles. I'm busy. We can talk once I finish with Mrs. Delacroix.
She can
Schade.
get as painted up and coiffed as she likes. It's not gonna fix the ugliness inside.
Gut, dann...
Goodbye, dearest.
I look forward to your return, my love.
Okay.
Can we talk?
Not right now. Come back.
Okay. Nicht kurz mit dir quatschen. Auch gut.
Remind me, Miles, how was finding some rich people's kidnapped baby going to help us track down the flower shop burglar?
It's possible we might find a lead to the burglar during the course of this investigation.
Really, Miles? Do you really believe that?
Anything's possible, Bill. You remember how many times we encountered seemingly trivial matters which turned out to be important later on?
Well, if you plan on solving this case, you'll need your full wits about you.
I do have my full wits about me. I'm perfectly capable of doing this.
Yes, and I'm perfectly capable of being alive. I just choose to be this way because it saves on the laundry expenses. You can't deny it. You need to stop taking the soporific, Miles. Adelaide has been trying to get you to stop for months, and Upton already suspects something is amiss. Not to mention your little episode last night. Trust me, no one is going to want to hire the duller detective.
Clever. Did you come up with that one all by yourself?
What are you going to do when the cases stop coming in? How long before you get put away in Riverview?
If I do get locked away, it'll be your fault.
Which is exactly why you need to get back to your normal routine so you can find the burglar.
All right, fine. I'll stop. But the only thing that will change is that I'll wake up earlier. If I go to sleep at all.
The early bird catches the worm, as they say. Only in this case, our worm likes stealing flowers. Well, I'm glad that's settled then. I knew you'd see things my way eventually.
It's not as though you gave me much of a choice.
In time, you'll thank me. Probably not before the withdrawal hits, though.
Don't make me change my mind on this, Bill.
Mr. Fordham, you're back. Allow me to introduce my wife, Miriam.
Hello.
A pleasure, Mrs. Harris. I wish we could have met under better circumstances, but I assure you I'm doing all I can to find your son.
Thank you, Mr. Fordham.
Mr. Harris, has there been any communication from the kidnapper?
None at all.
Well, I'll have another look around, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Miles, didn't you notice something a bit strange about the Harrises?
Quite a few things, actually. What are you referring to?
His son was just kidnapped, yet they're each on their own side of the sitting room. Not comforting each other, not crying together. Nothing.
They're stuck-up rich people. Not exactly the type to show emotion.
Miles, you know I'm the most cynical person there is when it comes to their type. But this isn't normal behavior, even for snobs. This goes deeper than saving face. There's something going on between them. I think you should find out what. That's odd. Why is there a loose button in the crib? I'm no expert on children, but it seems like it would be dangerous to have around an infant.
Quatsch.
If only the flower shop burglar was as easy to find as this clue was.
Okay, wir finden Hinweise.
Yeah, the
Das ist gut.
kidnapper left the child's blanket behind. There doesn't appear to be any trace of the silver spoon, though. Nice mobile. Custom made, too. There'll be no mistaking what family this child comes from.
Es tut mir nicht so, als ob das Kind was dafür kann.
A steam-powered bottle warmer. Certainly beats having to do it in the fireplace. Or in the case of my parents, over a barrel fire. Some sort of fuzzy animal wearing a waistcoat. Charming. Nice view of the garden from up here.
Gucken wir uns nochmal das kaputte Fenster an.
Be careful not to cut yourself. It looks rather...
Auch nichts Neues heute Morgen.
Probably doesn't look
Am
very
Mittag
comfortable.
eher ist es ja.
Whoever sits here must end up with a sore backside after a while. Look at that. Of course, that is...
Okay. Hier haben wir schon mal alles. Ich will jetzt nicht einfach ins Schlafzimmer gehen.
It's nice to see that tea is still served here even in times of tragedy. I'm sure the only location the Harrises care about is wherever they are at any given moment. I know the hand and waistcoat pose are supposed to look stately, but to me it always looks like the person is scratching themselves. She looks like she's up to something. But the Harris family certainly has a nice view from which to look down upon the world. I wonder if they use the balcony to give speeches to the gardeners.
Das wäre witzig. Bevor wir aber die zwei befragen und uns weiter umsehen, bedanke ich mich recht herzlich fürs Zusehen und wir sehen uns beim nächsten Mal. Ciao, ciao!